our opponent preview for the week. We are talking about the Washington Huskies. We're getting into the back half of the schedule now, where we are past the Indiana, USC, Ohio State gauntlet of those three teams in 4 weeks. We are now post-bye week as well. They will get the week off after Ohio State and then travel to Seattle to take on the Huskies on October 25th. Possible trap game here. And the main reason, Washington's always a solid program, but also, we'll get into it later, but they play really well at home, and it is coming off the Ohio State game. But I think with the bye, right, I'm not as worried about thinking about Ohio State the week before, because it would have been 2 weeks, or the travel, right, because they have plenty of time to, kind of relax before making this trip. Washington actually would have worse travel than the Illini. They are playing at Michigan the week before, so they will be traveling back while Illinois is relaxing on their bye week. So Illinois might very well be in Washington before Washington gets back from their Michigan trip. I don't know exactly how they're going to break up the traveling, but that's certainly possible. Definitely, I wouldn't say giving the Illini the advantage, right? Because Washington's pretty much going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth from West Coast to the Midwest pretty much all year this year. And so there's not really they're going to be used to it by then, right? October 25th, we're definitely in the back half of the season now. So they'll be used to that, whereas Illinois really won't. This is their only trip out to the West Coast of the whole year. So it definitely evens it out a bit, though, with Illinois having a bye week. Like, that is the perfect time for them to have the bye week. And Washington having to travel back, evens the playing field a little bit in terms of the travel, which is, and that's always a big concern for me when we're playing these West Coast Big Ten teams. I don't know about you guys. So all-time versus Washington, they've only met 11 times in their history. This will be their first meeting as conference rivals. They're 4-7 all-time against Washington. Our Illini are 2-4 at Washington. Their last meeting was on September 13th, 2014. So it'll be over 11 years since they played last. And that was at Washington. Illinois got rocked 44-19. We don't love that. Their first meeting was on October 21st in 1950, though. That was a W against the Huskies in Champaign, 20-13. Another notable matchup, they had the 1964 Rose Bowl, or I guess that was the 1963 season, but it was New Year's Day 1964. Illinois took them down in the Rose Bowl 17-7. Those days are not far off, guys. Could be this year. Who knows? We could get back to that level. So in recent years, Washington, very, very interesting last 5 years from Washington. Last season, weren't quite at the same level that they were at in 22 and 23, right? They were 6-7 and 4-5 in the Big Ten Conference, their first year in the conference, losing record. But they were a very shocking 6-0 at home still. All 6 of their wins came at home. Their 7 losses, because yes, that means that they were 0-5 on the road then, and 0-2 in neutral site games. So their wins were against, and again, these are all at home, so I'm not going to, and then all the losses are going to be away. They won against Weber State, Eastern Michigan, Northwestern, Michigan, USC, and UCLA. And then they lost to Washington State. That was a neutral site game. Technically, it was at Lumen Field, home of the Seattle Seahawks. Rutgers, Iowa, who they lost at Iowa 40-16. And Indiana, they lost 31-17. Probably one of the closest games Indiana played all year, though, if I'm being honest there. And then at Penn State and at Oregon, which are not surprising. They did make the Sun Bowl at 6-6. The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. That is freaking awesome. But they lost to Louisville 35-34. Unfortunate for them. Definitely a down year last year in their first year under a new regime, because they don't need that long of a memory to remember that in 2023 they were 14-1, a perfect 9-0 their final year in the Pac-12, and 7-0 at home. And a lot of close games actually that year, surprisingly, when I was looking back today at some of their matchups from 2023, especially in conference play. They won them all. They even beat Oregon twice, once at home and then once in the Pac-12 championship game, their final Pac-12 championship game. They beat them by 3 both times. So a lot of close games. That team with Michael Penix Jr., they just got it done, right? And they're Pac-12 champions, beat Oregon twice, and then made the college football playoff, the Final Four team college football playoff. They beat Texas in the Sugar Bowl 37-31 to advance to the national title game at a perfect 14-0, but they got smacked by Michigan 34-13 in that national championship game. So they were runners-up. 2022, the year leading up to that second place finish, they were very good as well. 11-2 and 7-2 in the Pac-12, and 7-0 at home again. So yes, you have heard me correctly. That is 7-0 in 22 at home, 7-0 at home in 23, and 6-0 at home in 24. They have not lost a game at home since 2021. Just heavily concerning for our Illini. That 2022 season, they lost to UCLA and Arizona State. Those are their only losses. And then they made the Valero Alamo Bowl, and they beat Texas. Dang, they ended Texas season twice in a row. I mean, that season would have ended anyway. But, Texas season ended with a loss to Washington in a bowl game twice in a row. Dang, they won that one 27-20. 2021, then, the last time they lost a game in Seattle, they lost to Montana that year. Actually, they were 4-8 in 2021, so they were bad. That's the only reason why they lost at home. 3-6 in the Pac-12, 2-5 at home. Lost to Montana 13-7 to start the year. Ouch! And their wins were Arkansas State, Cal, Arizona, and Stanford. And 2020, a shortened season, very shortened, especially since they're out on the West Coast. They're 3-1. All those games were at home. So, yeah, that doesn't bode well for the Illini. 3 straight years winning every game at home, but they haven't faced us yet, I guess. Head coach Jedd Fisch, he is entering his second year at Washington after taking over for when Kalen DeBoer left to go to Bama after that 23 runner-up season the Huskies had. He's got a really long resume. He has been all around college football and the NFL. Some of the most interesting things, but there are still a lot of them to me. He's a Ravens assistant in 2004 to 2007. In 2008, he was a Broncos wide receiver coach, Minnesota offensive coordinator and wide receiver coach in 2009, Seahawks quarterback coach in 2010, Miami offensive coordinator and wide receiver in 2011 and 2012. That's Miami, Florida. Then he was the Jaguars offensive coordinator in 2013 and 2014, Michigan quarterback and wide receivers coach in 2015 and 16. Then at UCLA, offensive coordinator, quarterback, and an interim head coach for the last 2 games of the season in 2017. Then he was the Patriots quarterbacks coach in 2020. Then the Arizona head coach, which is his most notable thing he had before this, from 2021 until 2023. His first year at Arizona, he was 1-11, but then he really turned it around, got to 5-7, and then really got the team to break out in 2023 at 10-3, and they beat Oklahoma in the Alamo Bowl. His overall head coaching record, then taking in his first year at Washington, 23-9 and 29. He's 23-9, 23-29 overall, and 1-2 in bowls. So he does have a losing record overall as a coach Took him some time to turn around the program at Arizona, but he got it done. But then, yeah, definitely a disappointing season for Washington last year at 6-7, coming off a runner-up finish. I know they lost Penix and Romo Dunze and all those guys, but still, man, he's very offensive and skill position focused. If you didn't get that from all those quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator, and wide receiver job that he's had, he loves the skill players. Washington's got some good skill players. Their top players. First, actually, on defense, though, is Tacario Davis, a cornerback. He's transferring from Arizona. Had a big year at Arizona last year. He's a senior. He is really good. He was second team All Pac-12 in 2023 when he was playing under Fish at Arizona. He's a preseason #1 corner on some preseason lists. 44 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, an interception, and 6 passes defended or deflected, I guess is more accurate, in 2024 at Arizona. You also got to look out for their quarterback. This is one of the better quarterbacks that Illinois is going to face in the 2025 season. That is Damon Williams Jr. He is a sophomore, great dual threat. 944 pass yards, 8 touchdowns, and 282 rush yards. It's crazy. 2 touchdowns as well, rushing touchdowns. So really good dual threat. He's definitely one to watch out for at quarterback. He is going to be dangerous even for this experienced defense. Then you got Denzel Boston, their top wide receiver, also a very big threat as well. He really was just kind of a role player at the start of 2024, but really flourished into what is now going to be the go-to option for Washington's offense in 2025. 63 receptions, 834 yards, 9 touchdowns. He had 2 games as well last season where he recorded over 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Alex McLaughlin, he is a safety. They got him out of the transfer portal. He is very dangerous. Geez, I got to run through these. Wait a minute. Jonah Coleman, a running back, he's a senior. He's one to watch. He was all Big Ten third team in 2024. 193 carries, 1,053 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Some honorable mentions as well. Jacob Manu at linebacker, Decker DeGraff at tight end, and Ephesians Prysock at cornerback.